Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Shining Brighter. This is Nick. And if you like my content, if you find it helpful or positive or uplifting, please take a moment to comment, like, subscribe, hit the hype button, help my channel to grow so I can reach out and help as many people as possible. So today I want to talk about the last year and a half of my life, where, I wasn't really aware at first, but basically it was a period where I was called to rest, ultimately forced to rest. And that's not easy for me because I've always been somebody who, takes pride in the fact that I can do so many things for myself. And I've always been, a hard worker and taking care of my family and repairing my house and taking care of my yard and all these things, taking vacations, taking my kids to places to have fun. I just wasn't used to resting. There are times where I almost felt guilty about it, but the universe had different plans for me. My work as a police officer, as I always say, it wasn't the work, it was the politics and the internal stresses and the backstabbing and all the other garbage that goes along with it. And it's sad because it's not how it's supposed to be. But in this period of forced rest, you start to realize just how tightly wound you get to be, working in a scenario like that, or any day-to-day job. It doesn't have to be police work. Life in general gets crazy busy, and if you don't stop and take the time to rest, you could be doing some real damage to yourself. And for me, it all manifested as stress, that started showing up as, a possible serious heart condition. My body was telling me I needed to stop and I needed to get away from all the stresses in my life, and I kind of needed to reboot. And it frustrated me to no end because, again, I'm so used to being able to do for myself and very proud of the fact of all the things that I'm capable of, because there really isn't anything that I can't do. I might need to take a course or, learn from somebody else or, do whatever it takes. But I have the confidence in myself that there's nothing I can't do. But when you're not able to, when you are absolutely forced to do nothing, that's a tough one. So it's hard to describe until you go through it. But being forced to rest the way that I am, still to a degree, the heart condition, was false. Everything that I was dealing with was, stress related. And those things are pretty well gone. I've healed. I've done a lot of good work. Changed my perception, changed my life. I'm so much happier. My health is getting better and better. Still kind of on hold because of the shoulder surgery, and probably two. I'm about 99% positive I'm going to have both done. So that's going to, put me down for at least another year or so. But as much as I was frustrated and at times, you do get really bored, it started to rewire my brain, made me look at things different, think of things different, started to appreciate the fact that even though it's not what I wanted or how I wanted it to be, that I was granted the gift of resting. I don't look at it as a forced resting period anymore. I look at it as a necessary reset for my body, for my mind, for my soul, and for my life. If things hadn't happened the way they had, quite honestly, it's very likely that I would not be here. The effects were real. My blood pressure was high. Trouble breathing, like everything was real. And even though it wasn't my actual heart, the stress that I had, it's detrimental. Stress and inflammation are two of the worst things that can happen to your body. They can do a lot of damage. So, if you find that you're in a point where you're down, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever the case may be, and you're just not able to do what you were doing, recognize it as, being granted a resting period to reset yourself. Now, there are some funny side effects to this. The most prominent in my case is the fact that people around me, mostly family, seem to be upset that I'm not working. I've been working since I was 13 years old. This is the first time in my life where I haven't been working for as long as I am. Aside from being in school, this is the longest period I've never worked. And obviously I will work again. It's just going to be on my terms. But the fact that people are upset and making comments to me and, throwing shade at me, not knowing why I can't work, or not believing me, or, not understanding that nobody's going to hire me and then say, okay, hey, thanks for coming in for this month, or 2 months. I know you're going to be gone for a year and a half. We'll see you when you get back. That's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. There are other things that I'm trying to work on. This being one of them, of course, my YouTube channel. And, I'd like to open up my life coach practice soon. But that takes money to, have a place to do it and whatnot. And, not having a big income at the moment makes that difficult. It seems like whatever direction I turn for things I want to do, something is kind of preventing it. Which I just take as, the resting period isn't over. I'm not restless like I used to be. I do have times where I get very bored. I don't just sit around all day long doing nothing, Still got day-to-day things I have to take care of. Still have to clean and maintain my home and my vehicle and, do things for my kids and, stuff that everybody else has to do. But I don't go to work. And I'm finally at the point where I've just kind of given into the situation and said, okay, if this is what I'm being called to do, then I'm being called to do this for a reason. And the fact that, people around me take issue with it, I don't even know what to say about that other than they're jealous is my guess. Or in some cases, they're upset because the money that I once had coming in, is no longer there. So I don't have the income to do the things for them or with them that I used to do. But it shouldn't be about the money. It should be about spending time together, appreciating what we do for each other, appreciating the fact that we have each other. Like, I love my kids to death. I love my family. And even though, some of them choose to throw shade and give me issues about not working, not really fully comprehending what's going on, that does kind of make me shake my head. I don't let it bother me because I know why, and really that's all that matters. I wish they didn't have jealousy over something there's nothing to be jealous of. It's not by choice that this is happening for me. But now I've not only come to accept it, but I'm appreciating it. I don't have, funds to do extra. I don't have the freedom to go and do whatever I want. I do have a lot of days when I am just kind of bored and, it can get lonely when you're the only one around. But at the same time, the fact that I've had this time to unwind, to decompress, to de-stress, to do all the work that I needed to do, the shadow work, the healing, all the health issues being resolved, getting to the gym, getting out walking, dedicating my time to this channel to try and help people. All those things I would not have had the time to do if I was still working. So how can you not be grateful for a resting period when it gives you the time to rediscover who you are and what you want out of life? I already know that the work that I've done and the work that I continue to do is going to pay off in massive ways. My life is already exponentially better than it was a year and a half ago. And I can't even fathom just how amazing it's going to be. It's coming quick. I believe in it. I believe in myself. I believe in all the work that I've done. I believe in all my healing. I believe in trying to help people. And I believe that this rest period was for my best good. So for anybody out there who might be struggling with the same thing, circumstances are going to be different, of course. But if you're in a forced resting period, stop looking at it as forced and start realizing what a gift it is. Because not a lot of people get these gifts. And I'm grateful for it now. I don't think like I used to. I'm not stressed out anymore. I don't have any anger and frustration anymore. I'm not exhausted anymore. My old job trying to force me back onto the midnight shift, which was killing me literally, because they didn't believe that I was actually sick. And sadly, most of that was caused by them. But whatever. None of that matters to me anymore. I could care less about any of it. All I care about now is, my life, my health, my happiness, my abundance, my success, my family, my friends. There's not a whole lot else that matters to me. So if you get the chance to take a rest period, take it, enjoy it, see it for what it really is, and appreciate it. And just know, no matter what, it's an investment in yourself and you deserve it. So like I always say, know your value, know your worth, respect yourself. I see you all for who you really are, and I truly do love you for it. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.